Hi, we're here with Steve Harris, Director of Talent Acquisition for EMEA at 8x8. Just to get to know you a bit better, some questions about you, your life at 8x8, your life before 8x8, your life as a professional. Can you maybe tell us who or what had the most influence on you growing up and made you be the man you are today?
Two people, actually. I lived in the States as a teenager, and my swimming coach was immense and was fantastic at getting the best out of people. And the second was my mum, who every day used to say to me, there's no such word as can't.
What or whom would you say is still your biggest inspiration?
Still those two, still my mum and my swimming coach, but in addition to that, my family, who keep me grounded every day.
So you have 30 plus years of experience interviewing and listening to people. Now that's a lot of conversations, a lot of meeting people, different kinds of people. Can you maybe share with us some interesting things you learned about yourself, about people in general from all those years of talking and listening to people?
I find, given the right platform, people like to talk about themselves, but they've first got to be made comfortable to do that. And I think being able to listen is super important. So I think once you've got people in the right environment and you ask them some of the right questions without being invasive, then you'll get all the information that you need.
Surely you've been in the candidate seat yourself. Can you share with us the most foolish thing you did as a candidate interviewing for a job?
Yes, I'm a little bit boring there, but the one story that springs to mind is I went for an interview, I had a cold, I sneezed, and unfortunately I used my right hand to put over my mouth and nose to capture the sneeze, but of course that wrote off any chance of a handshake at the end of the interview.
Do you believe in the power of the first impression? How can a candidate make the best first impression? Do you believe a candidate can recover after not making the best first impression, and how?
And I do believe in the power of first impression, but I do believe that you can recover from making a poor first impression, especially in the interview situation. So I think if you look at the interview scenario, it's very easy to be nervous, not to be yourself it's not a natural situation. So I take the first impression, and throughout the interview process, I try to build on that. So I've had many examples where somebody's not given a good first impression, but in actual fact have recovered from that. In terms of giving a good first impression and advice to people, smile, be positive, be friendly. It's expected you'll be nervous, but just try and be in the moment as best you can without worrying about it too much.
What advice would you give to someone who is just starting out in their career?
Same advice as I've given to all three of my daughters. Work hard. When you think you're working hard, work harder.
Thinking about your life at 8x8, just to start us off, what made you join 8x8 in the first place?
Easy answer. 8x8 has got a massive technology advantage. So from that perspective, what's the future like? And that was relatively straightforward. But recruitment has a big impact on growing companies. So the ability to make a difference in a role, especially with a growing technology leader, super easy decision.
You've just recently celebrated your 1-year work anniversary at 8x8. What's the past year been like for you?
Wow. Hard work, but then anything rewarding is always hard work. I think for me, the culture of the business has been something that I've really embraced. It's a massively positive culture, wherever you go, whoever you speak to. And I find that to be certainly the most motivating part of the last year. The other side of it being in recruitment is seeing people join, evolve, become part of the team, very satisfying.
You manage a distributed and very diverse, might I say, team at 8x8. which we all know comes with some great challenges, but also with some rewards. Can you tell us what it's like? What are your daily challenges, your struggles managing this team?
A great question. I think diverse and distributed is common these days. I think it's something people need to be good at, or at least practiced at. For me, it doesn't make any difference whether it is a diverse and distributed team or not. I think the same rules apply. First of all, treat people as individuals, but manage teams with common goals, and ensure that everybody that's part of that team understands what's expected of them. In terms of the daily struggles, I wouldn't say there are any. Every day's different, every day's great. But in terms of some of the challenges, if you like, is for me, I like to see people maximising their potential. And that's something that I work towards with them on a daily basis.
What keeps you going and motivates you to take every day as it comes and give it your best?
I'm naturally a very positive and enthusiastic person, so I start every day like that. But then on top of that, of course, it's family, friends, colleagues, team members, and a huge desire never to be average.
You commute to work every day. How do you spend your time on the commute? Do you get any work done?
I do. I love listening to music and a bit of people watching, but I try to get some work done too. So for me, I work with the US a lot. So I report into the US. I've got numerous colleagues that I'm dealing with in the US. So when I wake up in the morning, I've got a stream of emails that I need to try and get through before I can start my day. And then of course at the end of my day, when I'm on my way home, there's responses coming from those emails and other things arising. So I commute on the train, so there's a fair bit of emailing whilst chilling out to my music, of course.
I recall us talking about working in the grey. Can you explain what that means, and is that something you can learn?
It's a great question. We talked about it before, and it was something that only came to me a couple of years ago, and somebody who I respect a great deal said to me, "Steve, you work very well in the grey." And I said, "Well, what do you mean by that in particular?" You know, and I think it's fair to say that a lot of people like to understand exactly what the parameters are. You know, it's black and white, as it's commonly called. But I think working in the grey really represents everything that we all do in the people business. You know, if you're dealing with people, that is the grey, because people have different motivations, different jobs, different family situations, different personal circumstances. People change their minds. So I think when you're dealing with people in any way, you are working in the grey. It's really just a case of whether you embrace that or you don't. You know, I embrace it, I enjoy it, you know, and I know a lot of people that maybe worry about it and like to try and put something in a box where you just can't do that with people.
What about 8x8's future excites you the most?
Wow. In recruitment, we're hiring some fantastic people. There's already an amazing people here, technology leadership, and look how well we're doing. Imagine how we can do with all the additional people we're going to hire in the next few years. Future's bright.
Steve, thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you here in London.
Thank you, Anna. It's a pleasure.